In this video, I'm going to show you how I make these soft and chewy sugar cookies from scratch. And unlike other recipes, no mixer is required. And to start off in a large bowl, we're going to add 1 3/4 cups of all-purpose flour. You should spoon and level your flour. You can weigh it as well. And I tested this recipe with 2 cups of flour, but I found the cookies didn't spread enough with that much flour. So that's why I reduced it by 1/4 cups. And now I'm adding 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Next, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. This will give the cookies a subtle, tangy flair, and 1/2 teaspoon of iodized salt. Now, most recipes will call for using baking powder, but baking powder tends to make cookies puffy. I prefer my cookies to be on the flatter end, which is why I'm using baking soda for this recipe. So once you get finished mixing all the dry ingredients together until they're well combined, you're going to move on to the next step in the process. So we're going to set this bowl aside and bring over a separate bowl, and this will be for our wet ingredients. Into the bowl, I'm going to add 14 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. That's equivalent to 3/4 cups and 2 tablespoons of butter. I tested this recipe with 1 cup of butter, and the cookies ended up spreading too much. Meanwhile, I also tested the recipe with 3/4 cups of butter, and the cookies didn't spread enough, so I ended up settling on using 14 tablespoons for this recipe. I just added 3/4 cups of white granulated sugar as well as 1/4 cups of brown sugar as well. And I'm whisking that together with the butter until it's well combined. And you want to whisk it until it reaches an applesauce-like consistency as you see on the screen, which should take around 1 to 2 minutes. And the reason I'm using the brown sugar is it will help to neutralize the metallic taste in the baking soda that we used earlier. I also just added 2 extra large egg yolks to the bowl. I excluded the egg whites because the egg whites are primarily protein, which will tend to dry out the cookies. Much of the emulsifying properties in the egg is found in the egg yolk. And now I'm adding 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, and I'm whisking that together with the other wet ingredients until it's well combined. And then once that's done, we're just going to move on to the next step in the process. So the bowl here that I have with the wet ingredients, I'm just going to take it and set it aside for now. And what I'm going to do is bring back over the bowl with the dry ingredients. And to the bowl with the dry ingredients, I'm going to add the wet ingredients. Now, some folks like to do it the opposite way. They like to put the dry ingredients into the bowl with the wet ingredients. I like to be different. This is the way I like to do it. And it doesn't matter. It will come out the same way regardless of how you combine the wet and dry ingredients. But either way, what you want to do when you're combining the wet and dry ingredients, you just want to fold them together until they're just combined. And when I say just combined, I mean you want to fold them until flour is no longer visible, as you can see on the screen. And then once that's done, you're just going to move on to the next step in the process. So I'm going to set this bowl aside here, and now I'm going to bring over my cookie sheet. And you notice I have the cookie sheet lined with parchment paper. So I'm going to use a 2 tablespoon cookie scoop to scoop out some of that cookie dough from the bowl. And I'm going to place it onto the cookie sheet. And once the dough has been placed on the cookie sheet, you're going to transfer the cookie sheet into a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're going to bake them for around 10 minutes. And then once they're done baking, you're going to remove them from the oven and allow them to cool for an additional 10 minutes. And this is a bit of a pro tip. So when you first remove the cookies from the oven, you should slam the cookie sheet onto a flat surface, as that will ensure that the cookies remain flat as they cool. And this recipe can accommodate up to 18 cookies. And you can also freeze the cookie dough for up to 3 months, and it will maintain freshness. And there you have it. If you would like to see more recipes, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.